Welcome to a few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos we have the privilege of reading Parshas Yisro. At the very outset of today's discussion, I'd like to offer a warm thank you to all those who communicated with me during this past week when I was Nishtankadach sitting Shiva for my sister Razel Bas Reb Shlomo Zalka, and the warm words of encouragement and consolation that were offered by so many of our friends and members of the Young Israel Beth El Borough Park stood me in good stead and gave me a true sense of nechama because of their concern over the petiva of my wonderful sister Razel. And now, when we talk about this week's Sedra in Parshas Yisro, we know that the giving of the Aseres HaDibros were taking place in the chronological order of the Parshios in this week's Sedra, in Parshas Yisro. And when it comes to Klal Yisrael coming to Har Sinai to receive the revelation directly from Hashem, when he speaks and they couldn't handle it and asked Moshe Rabbeinu to come and say the words of the Aseres HaDibros because it was too awesome for them to be able to handle, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to the Jewish people, Atem Re'isem, you saw what I did in Mitzrayim, and that I lifted you on the wings of eagles. V'esa eschem al kanfei nishorim, v'ovi eschem Eloi. I lifted you on the wings of eagles, and I brought you to me. And when it says that we were lifted up on the wings of eagles, take a look at the Rashi commentary of how the eagle protects its young with its own body, putting its young on its back because it's not afraid of anyone flying higher. So if there's going to be arrows shot at the eagle, the arrows will enter into them and it will save the young. And so Hashem says, throw the arrows at me. Leave Klal Yisrael alone. A beautiful pshat in Rashi. But right after that, Hashem says, Va'ata, and now, im shamoa tishma'u b'koli, if you will listen to me and you will do what I command you, then you'll be for me an Am Segula, a treasured nation. What happened that all of a sudden Hashem says, Va'ata, and now, if you listen to me? What was going on till now that Hashem all of a sudden had to say to them, if you now listen to me, then the Yisem Lisigula, then you're going to be a treasured nation to me. What is the break between what Hashem was promising them and the word Atah? The Kahelas Yitzchak, Reb Yitzchak Yanova, famous Reb Yitzchak Yanova, quotes Reb Yomtov Lipman, not to be confused with Reb Yomtov Lipman Heller, but Reb Yomtov Lipman of Bialystok offers the following interpretation. It's true that HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to the Jewish people and offered them the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments. But he said, I want you to know, in the 50 days that it took from the time you left Mitzrayim up until you've come to Har Sinai, I was taking you there. I guided you there. I walked you through the Yam Suf. I kept you alive in the desert. But va'atah, and now, if you will listen to my voice, then v'hi yisem li segula. Because I was the one, says Hashem, who brought you here. In your infancy, you needed my help, and you needed me, says Hashem, to bring you to this place, explains Reb Yomtov Lipman. But from this point on, the atah, and now you're on your own. And it's up to you to raise the madrega step by step. It's a difficult task. It's a task that requires all of our energies to fight off those evil thoughts, actions, deeds, feelings, because it's not easy to raise oneself from level to level. Until now, when we came out of Mitzrayim, each day By the counting of the Omer, we were raised up higher and higher to the point where we became capable of receiving the Aseret HaDibros at Har Sinai. But Hashem says, V'ato, and now, from this point on, it requires your input, your effort, in order to be that Am Segula, that treasured nation. It's a challenge for the Jewish people. We've gone through so many different periods of time in the history of Klal Yisrael, and each time it looked as if we're making a breakthrough. How many times did our ancestors say, it must be the times of Mashiach, look at what's going on? And how many times did we have the opportunity, perhaps, in each of those tekufos, in each of those seasons and events, possibly to bring it about? I don't think today's any different. We have this opportunity. We're facing it. We can almost sense it. We can almost feel it. That is, most unusual circumstances happening again, no matter how many times people said never again. And no matter how many times we've had to fight for the very existence of our lives as a people, as a nation, as an Am Segula for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we feel that once again we're being beset upon by the nations of the world who don't seem to be able to think clearly and don't seem to have an honest, straightforward approach to what's necessary for Klal Yisrael. And so we go to the Parsha, and the Parsha says, V'ata, and now. It requires us now to make a new step, a better step, a further step, a way in which we can reach the level where we can come close to Hashem through our efforts, and that's the V'ata. V'ata, and now, if you listen, then V'yisem li segula. We have that opportunity, and we need to work at it. And we don't have to make giant strides overnight. What we need to do is just recognize that we take small little steps. And when we take those steps and we ask for Hashem's divine guidance in each and every one of them, we will have the opportunity to be truly that Am Segula, that treasured nation of Hashem that brings us to Him. And finally, we see the advent of what Hashem promised with the coming of Mashiach, with the coming of the Jewish people's teaching the world about what it means to be an Am Segula. Then we will see the fulfillment, despite all the centuries and all the difficulties, we will then see the fulfillment of the promise of Atah. And now, if you'll take this advice, you will be my Am Segula. Let's try to work at that. It won't happen immediately, and it's a difficult task, but we are up to it. We can do it. We've seen miracles in our time. Let's continue to work to bring about the greater good, not only of Klal Yisrael, but to spread out through the entire world, which is what the purpose of Klal Yisrael is. I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbat Shalom and Mevarach from here in Ir HaKodesh Yerushalayim, from the city from which Ki Mitzion Teitzei Soda. And from now on, we're going to see an opportunity that we can get a little bit better. It doesn't have to be great strides all at once. We each try to improve with the reading of the Aseret HaDibros. As we stood at Har Sinai once, we are standing there once again to be able to bring about that there will be a true peace on earth with Hashem's divine guidance to bring the Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheira v'yameinu. I want to wish everyone a wonderful good Shabbos, and we should see the fulfillment of the promises that are inherent in Va'ata, and now if you will listen to my voice. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom u'mevarach.